All right, greetings everyone. We are live again. Dynasty Mir, search for Huru. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get started, guys, make sure you go to OneAfricaProperties.com, OneAfricaProperties.com, your central source for real estate on the continent of Africa. Again, OneAfricaProperties.com. Also, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and make sure you share the content as well. We will greatly appreciate it. Without further ado, we have Mr. Reece Easthorpe on with us today, and we're going to be discussing, South Africa, real estate, opportunities for investment, and also, will South Africa be the best fit for those coming from the diaspora? What do I mean by that? When you compare South Africa with pretty much every other country in Africa, and we'll be specific, we'll talk about West Africa, and that's where I spend the majority of my time. You guys know I love West Africa. My heart and soul is in West Africa, specifically Sierra Leone and Nigeria. But the issues with many West African countries is infrastructure. All right. I've been to South Africa. I've been to countries like Namibia, and the infrastructure is similar, if not better, to that of the West. So for those who are thinking about transitioning to Africa, would South Africa be a better fit? Because, for example, in South Africa, and correct me if I'm wrong, Reece, 24-hour electricity, no need for generators. Am I correct or am I wrong?
Yeah, we have our bad days, so we have some blackouts. It's not as bad as some other countries in Africa, But yeah, for the most part, we've got 24-hour power on. You have the odd day where it's off for 2 hours, but that happens once every 3 months or so.
Okay, say that again. Once every 3 months.
Yeah, whenever there's a refurbishment or some sort of servicing happening to a generator, you can experience, but it's not regular.
Right. Okay. So when there's service or something going on, repair or something, there would be they got to shut off.
It's been happening a lot of late, but I guess they're working to fix it. Yeah, but for the most part, yeah, we've got really good services. Yeah.
Okay. Good roads. How are the roads, Reece?
The infrastructure's it's really good. The country's really built up, so it's kind of prime for a more sure, safer return on investment. You got a better tourism market. You got a really strong tourism market and a really good local rental market, local tourism market and local rental market. So it's a lot more of a sure bet in terms of just asset class and asset protection than some of the other parts of Africa.
Okay. Let's see what else. So infrastructure. Also, too, for what you could get,
value, yeah, the value is just amazing.
Right. I was going to get to that, the value. Guys, what we'll do once we get the conversation going even more, Reece has several listings on OneAfrica Properties, the site, and we'll take a look at some of the listings. But the value. So
yeah, the value is amazing.
With electricity, good roads, affordability, I would say financing, which is more advantageous to the Western buyer who's used to having financing. They can get it's not the best. You're not gonna find it, right. If you're a foreigner, you're not gonna find, a 30-year mortgage like we can get here in America. But you have something where the terms are a little more favorable versus other countries in Africa.
Yeah.
English speaking.
And there's also opportunity to do a lot more deals directly with developers in South Africa. The developers here, a lot of them are happy to take on the finance themselves, sell you a property and allow you to pay it off in 5 years on an installment sale agreement. Those options are open, in South Africa.
No, you said 5 years. So 5 years is, longer than the majority of countries that we're
Yeah.
currently doing business in. So affordability, somewhat financing,
Yeah.
Now, as far as somebody if someone's a foreigner, they wanted to go through a bank.
Yeah.
Do you know how that process will work if they want to finance it through a bank?
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit complicated to get bank finance as a foreigner, no matter which part of the world you're from.
Mm-hmm.
But they usually give a maximum of 50% financing on a property, and they'll still expect you to put a 10% deposit on that 50% that you take. So it's more like 45% financing, and I'd say half, 50%, 60% of the time, they'll need you to have a tie to South Africa. So, for example, if you're a foreigner and you've got a working visa or a study visa, or you're married to a South African, or you have a business in South Africa longer than 2 years, then they'll lean more towards giving you finance, and on occasion up to 50%. Yeah.
Okay. So somewhat financing the terms a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, South Africa could be a viable option for the diaspora.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. If you think about it in terms of safety, security, it still has all of the big five and lots of good safari, lots of good African wilderness, really close to the urban areas, to the city, so it's not long traveling hours. And it has all of your Western country attributes in terms of economics, finding work, schools, all of that stuff, lifestyle, the holiday destinations. Look, we always say that it's nice to live in South Africa because the rest of Africa is not too far away from you. So you can always visit and then come back to the good infrastructure here in South Africa.
So South Africa, I mean, like tell us more about South Africa. I've been twice.
Where did you visit when you were down?
I was in Johannesburg, Durban, and Cape Town. But there are other cities in South Africa that people should consider. Can you kind of go into detail? And Reece, and I'm sorry, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show, Dennis. We always appreciate what you guys are doing for promoting property on the continent, and bringing investors from across the diaspora and having them consider Africa as a viable investment option using real estate. So we just appreciate that. So just to introduce myself, guys, Reece Easthorpe, real estate agent and a developer here in South Africa. Got about 12 years real estate experience, from new developments to flips to building estates and doing low-rise and mid-rise condos. So we specialize more in mid-income and then some of the luxury apartment builds. So that's what we do, and we've been working really closely with OneAfrica Properties since its inception. It's about 2 years now, Dennis.
No, it's not even.
Is it under 2 years?
Yeah, it hasn't been
last year this time. Okay.
Last year it was about last year this time around.
Yeah.
Well, actually, probably about September of last year, around there.
Yeah. So it's been a very insightful journey working with OAP. Getting to understand the different needs of the different buyers from different places and different preferences and the different kind of aesthetics that we're going for. It's also helped us. Sometimes in South Africa we are blamed, and rightfully so, we are blamed for being a bit too Western in some of our design style and aesthetics. And to be honest, working with OAP over the past year and a half has also steered us in a more luxury African kind of aesthetic and feel.
Luxury African, I like that. Luxury African, I like that.
So we're leaning hard on that, just to be a lot more bold and a lot more expressive in our African identity, and hopefully in the next few developments over the next few years, we allow that strong African aesthetic to come through a lot more confidently.
Somebody has a question in the chat room. I'm just coming in, but does this brother do business in coastal city states? And if so, what are the chances of finding upper class, mainly black neighborhoods? I don't know if that's a question for South Africa or if that's a question for here in America, Afronolia. If you could be specific. Yeah. So in ONAC, what is the cost of living in South Africa? There we go. That's a good question. So
yeah,
cost
that's
of
a
living,
very good
like
one.
what can you get, you know? Yeah, go ahead. Cost of living in South Africa. What's a good cost?
So it depends on your lifestyle. There's it really varies, you know. You can live a really cool lifestyle on a budget because there's lots of farming that happens in South Africa. A lot of the A grade stuff does get exported out to the West, but because of the surplus and because of the small scale farming at our marketplaces and stuff, you find food on the cheap. You know, it's not that expensive, but it can get really expensive if you're living a Western lifestyle in South Africa. For example, if you're living in a really urban environment and you want to eat out at the restaurant every night, it's going to be really expensive in South Africa. A night out dinner in rands could cost maybe 350 per person, 400 easy. You know, so if you work that out backwards to dollars, it can be as expensive as living in the States. But rentals are very cheap. To rent is cheap. To get around is fairly cheap. A bit cheaper to buy your own car than to Uber around. Yeah, it's a little bit can get a bit costly to Uber around. There's a lot of surcharges that happen. Yeah, but
I think that's pretty much anywhere. It's more cheaper just to buy your own car versus Uber, except for like places like New York where parking sucks, or you have public transportation there as well. But I think it's everywhere. It would make sense to just
it just makes so much more sense. Yeah. And look, the cities are vibrant places to live. The history in the cities are just really nice. You've lived in Joburg and explored Maboneng and stuff, and it's just the city's got so much history and culture post apartheid that they're now morphing into this really cool creative urban spaces in all of the city hubs. And on the outskirts, there's really nice estate living, and then there's also really cool safari living in South Africa. You know, so it's a real luxury experience, you know, to be able, for the same price of living abroad, to be able to live in South Africa and visit a safari once every 3 months and properly get to live in the bush once every 3 months. It's not that expensive, and it's something that it's like a life-changing experience, you know, to be able to touch nature and be that close to the African wilderness, and it's all around you in South Africa.
Let's see here. Are there many Black upper class areas in South Africa? Let's jump into that as far as upper class areas.
Yeah. What has happened is the post-apartheid, the central business districts got, you know, they kind of exploded post-apartheid with everybody being able to freely move around. So a lot of previously Caucasian affluent neighborhoods kind of got a lot more mixed, and a lot of satellite urban areas started coming up. Like in Durban, we have the Belito area, which previously was a predominantly white area. And look, over the past 20 years, as Black Africans, we've gained a lot of wealth in South Africa as just Black entrepreneurs and professionals and stuff. And we've really invested well in nice estates and living in nice areas. So there's plenty of Black affluent neighborhoods. What's really nice is in a lot of the Black affluent neighborhoods, it's a really fun party vibe. You know, like if you're staying in Zimbabwe for a holiday, you know, it's a residential estate, really luxurious residential estate, but it has a hotel on the estate and private access to the beach. So it's just fun to be there because, you know, us Black black people, put on some music, have some cocktails, and it's always a party.
Now let's talk about Durban, because I know a lot of
Yeah.
there are listings in Joburg, but I believe the
Yeah.
majority of listings are in Durban.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Durban. I haven't been to Durban. Last time I was in Durban was 2012, so I'm pretty sure
Okay.
it's changed a whole lot.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. Yeah, it's changed quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I stayed at the Hilton Hotel
in the city.
Yeah, in the city, like right by I think there's like a convention center around the corner from
me. Yeah.
I could walk to the beach and
very close.
Yeah. So let's talk about Durban a little bit.
Yeah, so Durban's basically split up between South and North Coast. You know, where you stayed was slap bang in the middle. Mm-hmm. You go an hour to the south or an hour to the north, and that's your residential zones. There's the western suburbs, but it's more your local people who are living in the western suburbs. It's just your normal community lifestyle. But for proper millennial lifestyle or your modern lifestyle, it's either the South Coast or the North Coast. And South Coast is a lot more family orientated. So your family vacations, you get good value for money if you vacate down the South Coast. It's really nice coastal beach, quiet towns. And up the north has just boomed post-apartheid. Umhlanga to Ballito. Look, where we're developing is La Mercy that sits slap bang in between Umhlanga and Ballito. And Umhlanga and Ballito are the two biggest property booms in KZN. So much so that at the moment that Umhlanga to Ballito strip it sets the precedent for property transactions in South Africa. It doesn't do as high valued properties as Cape Town, for example. Mm-hmm. But Cape Town will do the odd high valued property sale. And in the KZN North Coast, we have lots of mid-range to high-range property transactions. So it's actually setting the precedent at the moment. It's one of the most in-demand residential communities, one of the most successful estate living environments in South Africa. So it's kind of set the precedent for estate living in terms of security and lifestyle, all merged in one for that live, work, play component. It really did that well in the north.
Now, as far as the buying process, okay, I'm a foreigner. I go to OneAfricaProperties.com, your central source for real estate on the continent of Africa. I find this property in South Africa. I'm like, I want that property. Can you walk us through the steps?
Yeah, for sure.
And guys, real quick disclaimer, always still do your own research when it comes to investing and buying in Africa. Again, if you're watching this, please still do your own research.
Yeah, and always work with an attorney. Always work through an attorney and work with an attorney. So the South African process is very similar to the US process. Mm-hmm. Title deed goes in the name of the owner, so there's no confusing title deed ownership system in South Africa. It's very, very clear cut. Mm-hmm. If I'm buying a property from you, Dinus, just for example, for a clear example, I'd make an offer to purchase to you. You'll accept my offer and you'd countersign. That documentation will go to the attorneys, the conveyancing attorneys. The seller always picks the conveyancing attorney just for protection of the seller. So as a seller, you'll have your conveyancing attorney. He'll lodge that sale agreement that Reece has offered to purchase a property from Dinus. Dinus has agreed. This is the price of the property. This is the address. Copy of the title deed gets attached to that. And the attorneys will call for me to make a purchase into their trust account. So not directly into Dinus Demir's account or whoever the seller is. It goes into the attorney's trust account. The attorney holds that cash and then proceeds to take that to the deeds office. The deeds office will confirm attorney to attorney. And only once the property is transferred into my name and the title deeds are in my name for ownership, will the attorneys release the money to Dinus Demir. Okay. So it's really safe and it really protects. And if any if in any way that title deed is not able to be transferred to me for purchasing the property, then the attorneys will refund the cash and the property transaction will stop right there. So that kind of helps to alleviate a lot of the fraud issues. An immediate red flag with property transactions in South Africa is if a seller wants you to pay the full amount. Just for example, if you're doing an installment sale agreement system, that usually will only have the attorney handling the paperwork and the legalities of it, and then during your payment period, you'll pay it directly to the developers. Only because attorneys they don't always want you to use their trust account as a transactional account. So if it's one big lump sum, yes, because of the auditing and the internal stuff that goes on with attorney's trust account. But if you're doing a lot of small payments, then they'll prefer you just to do the paperwork in totality for them to make sure that the title deeds are all safe. And then during the process, you'll pay it directly to the person you're purchasing from. But in the most part, it's really safe. It's just make sure that you're always dealing with an attorney and you have your attorney deal with that attorney to verify title and title deed, and always pay the money directly into attorney's trust account.
Okay. Let's see here. Santon area in Johannesburg is a nice area. Can you tell us more about the Santon area?
Yeah, really affluent. It's the richest square mile in Africa. Santon's really, it's the richest square mile in Africa.
Wow. Okay.
The properties are really high value. It's a really high-end, super luxurious lifestyle. You can get bachelor apartments starting from 3.5 million rand. So it's a really high-end. But also in terms of value, we know places like Ghana is really expensive for real estate.
Yeah, but the thing is, in Accra, which you could purchase versus what you could purchase in Joburg or Durban, Accra is expensive. And then also too, like in Accra, you'll spend $300,000 for a house, but to get there is all dirt roads.
That's the wrong.
You
spend 300,000 in Santon, and you've got a probably private access lift, your thumbprint, the elevator opens on your floor. If you spend 300,000 in Santon, you get something really high end, really luxurious, a private kind of custom property there. Yeah, so you get, in terms of value, it's expensive, because in South Africa, $100,000 gets you a lot.
Right.
In South Africa, you can't
unless you're building on your own. You really can't say that about West Africa unless you're actually building. Now, Nigeria, I would say there's Nigeria and South Africa. You have that. It's affordable. It's affordable as far as building, as far as acquiring and purchasing homes that are already built. Everywhere else, man, like $100,000, if you're in cities, it's tough to find something really, really, really nice for under $100,000, like for $100,000.
Yeah.
Hey, Reece, is that condo still available? That's on the site.
Yeah, for sure, man.
In fact, guys, we're gonna go ahead and go to OneAfricaProperties.com. We're gonna take a look at some of the inventory that is available right now on the site. Let's see here. 1 second. Let me share the screen. And guys, make sure you hit that like button. And again, make sure you go to OneAfricaProperties.com, your central source for real estate on the continent, on the African continent. So here we go. We're going to scroll down. So guys, visit the site. Let's see what we got going in South Africa. Here we go. So guys, here's my favorite property, $92,000. Now, is this 2 bedrooms or is it 1 bedroom?
That's it's a huge penthouse, eh?
Okay.
It's a huge penthouse. So it's all open plan living spread over. Yes, I think it's well over 300 square meters or so. It's it's one of the most, well, Maboneng. Maboneng's amazing.
I heard it's like a real artsy area, correct?
Yeah, super. So it was a really derelict part of the city, maybe 12 years ago. And
you said it was a what part of the city? 12
it
years
was
ago?
bad. It was really run down.
Yeah, and I guess so that's what's going on in America. These bad areas in the city are just being completely flipped, renovated, and now they're nice and hip. A bunch of hippies walking around.
Yeah. And the cool thing about Maboneng is they didn't renovate the apartments very fancy where it becomes unaffordable to the local. So that gentrification aspect of it, they've really managed that really well. So there's lots of cool buildings in and around Maboneng that are very affordable, starting at like $32,000 or $35,000, and they have really nice apartments going all the way up to $150,000 at Hallmark House or in some of the penthouse buildings. So the community has a really cool mix, and a lot of the really nice apartments, like this penthouse in Maboneng for 92,000. It's the absolute perfect Airbnb pad. Really good money off Airbnb, because for the price point, for what you get for that price point is like wow, absolutely amazing.
I like how they have the tub, like the open space for the tub, and then I like the open.
It's absolutely sick. This apartment. This penthouse apartment ticks absolutely all of the boxes. It has a really cool old building charm to it, like all of the character of the old building.
Right.
And then all of the cool modern features that they've added to it that just make it an amazing experience to live in. And you get to experience this very old Joburg city feel back when the gold rush first started. And all of the high-end luxury amenities in terms of all of the services in the building, Wi-Fi, the restaurants downstairs, the clubs around the corner, all of that cool stuff.
Yeah, this is real nice. There's a nice view. Yeah, so guys, check out that property, and then also here's a list of the other properties that are available on the site. Make sure you go check it out. Okay, this is. I think this is new. Or you must have just put this up, Reece. The Revolution House. Revolution House.
Yeah, no, it's been up for a while. It's also a really huge penthouse apartment.
Okay.
It's a fairly new listing, this Revolution House one. Also a really sought after building, and a really well appointed apartment.
So guys, make sure you go to OneAfricaProperties.com and check out the listings there on the site. Again, make sure you check out the listings there on the site. Let's see here. Somebody says Maboneng is a great spot for younger people looking for the modern African lifestyle.
Yeah, the Museum of Modern African Design is there. There's lots of art gallery spaces. A lot of the buildings have been really well repurposed, where they have artist residencies in the building. So you get artists from all over the world living and working in the building and exhibiting also in the same building. It's just a really, it's like a global village, You can bump into people from all over the world. You can turn a street corner and there's a really cool advert being filmed. It's like it's just the place to be. The locals named it. It had some weird name when they first started developing it, and the locals named it Maboneng, and Maboneng literally translates to place of light. So it literally was like a place of light for that downtown area, and absolutely transformed it.
Let's see what else we have. Guys, if you'd like to call in and ask a question, I'm going to put the link in the chat room. Again, I'm going to put the link in the chat room. If you'd like to call in and ask a question, again, link is in the chat room. Click on that link, call in, ask and go ahead and ask your question. Let's see here. What else do we have here? Now, for I don't know if you have any, if you know, have any information on this, or if you know, as far as becoming a resident, I moved to South Africa. I want to get residency. Do you know how that process works?
Yeah, they've got lots more options than they had previously.
Mm-hmm.
Besides just having a job here and living here for more than 5 years, there's also there's a certain amount of turnover. If you start a business here,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing X amount of turnover, that also automatically gives you residency.
Okay.
And then the usual, if you fall in love and meet somebody and get married or have kids. Yeah.
Okay. So guys, again, if you want to call in and ask a question, link is in the chat room. Again, the link is in the chat room. Click on that link, come on in, and you can join the conversation. Now, Reece, how's the project in Durban going? You spoke about it earlier. The
Zulu Masala Hotel.
No, not the Zulu Masala, the other one. Unless you change the name of it. The other project.
The Mercy Beach Hotel.
Yeah, Mercy Beach. How's Mercy Beach?
Yeah. So yeah, that's going really well. We've got the guys from Curiosity coming down on Monday. So we're walking the construction crews. That building. So previously or currently, the name is La Mercy Beach Hotel because it's in the area of La Mercy, and historically, that hotel was the only non-white hotel. All the other hotels in KZN during apartheid were for whites only.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few little small ones in some of the local areas, but nothing on the beach with the prestige that the Mercy Beach Hotel had back in the day. And the guy that we bought it from owned it for 30 odd years, and it's been his pride and joy. So he's just run out of steam to operate it really well when we purchased it. And so we've taken this really iconic landmark building, and we're giving it a really cool breath of fresh air. The guys at Curiosity are well experienced in running very cool hotel hostel models. Their operation in Cape Town is successful. They've just opened up a farmhouse at Cradle 58 at the Cradle of Humankind in Johannesburg, and they have that one that's operating really long in Maboneng. So they're bringing a really cool flavor to the space, to the hotel. So we're doing the design and the construction walkabout next week. Mm-hmm. So it's really exciting times, and I think now we're going to start to see our vision on paper come to life. And what's really cool about this hotel project is it's not a new build from scratch. It's an existing building with all of the charm and character, and we renovating and upgrading and modernizing it, keeping all of the charm and just bringing a new fresh element to the building.
All right, perfect. Guys, hit that like button again. If you'd like to call in and ask a question, you're more than welcome to call in and ask your question. Again, link is in the chat room. If not, we'll go ahead and start closing out. So Reece, again, one more time, make the pitch for South Africa. Why South Africa? Make that pitch. Why South Africa? Here we go. Everyone's going to Ghana right now.
Yeah.
And then now Rwanda. So right now, as far as popularity, has been Rwanda. Well, Ghana number one. Rwanda. Then a sprinkle of Kenya and Tanzania.
Yeah.
Why South Africa for Diaspora? Yeah. Why do you think will be a better fit?
Dude, I'll be brutally honest with you.
Go ahead.
I understand 100% why the guys are traveling to those countries or wanting to relocate there. But and I agree. If you're coming from the diaspora for a truly authentic, undiluted African lifestyle experience, yes, you should spend time in these African countries. Even if you relocate to Africa, you shouldn't spend all your time in South Africa. You should be, if you're in Ghana, you shouldn't be spending all your time in Ghana. You should be traveling to the other African countries as well. But in terms of sound investment with solid investment return, with good protection rights over your title deed and ownership, and a really safe system of transacting, whether you're purchasing your property or whether you're selling it off or whether you're having a company manage it for you, your investment property has to be in South Africa. It's a no-brainer. You can rent and live anywhere else in Africa and travel the continent and explore and really connect back to your roots, because you get that in the other African countries a lot more than you get it in South Africa. But in terms of investing, getting a solid return of investment, letting your assets appreciate and being able to sell it off in a good, viable market, it's a bubbling real estate market, and it keeps growing and keeps growing. It's a no-brainer that you've got to get your investments in South Africa, whether you're purchasing in Cape Town, Johannesburg, or Durban. You've got to, for the sake of your investment, you got to get some safe and secure investments in South Africa. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what else we have here. Listen, if you want to call in, you click the link. So the link is in the chat room. Click the link, and then you'll be able to call in and ask a question. Again, click that link, and then you will be able to call in and ask your question. So again, please, if you have a question, click on the link, and then you'll be able to come on in and add whatever you want to add to the conversation. Okay, here we go, Zeke. Here we go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Zeke.
All right, peace, brothers. Peace, brothers.
Peace, brother.
So I have a question. The question that I have is, so I've been to Ghana a few times. The question that I have is, so in Ghana, when you want to purchase a piece of property, and Donis, you would either have to go through somebody, or long story short, you cannot. Me personally, if I didn't live there for some years, I couldn't just go and purchase a piece of property. I would have to go through someone, or perhaps, pretty much I would just have to go through someone. Do you know anything?
If I could interject. So in Ghana, if you're not a citizen, well, it's leasehold for the most part, but as far as for citizens, they do have freehold. They do have some freehold opportunities for those who are citizens. But if you're not a citizen, I think it's like a 45-year lease. Now, you technically own the land because you're still given a title and deed, but it's not freehold.
You don't own it. You don't own it. You lease it.
You don't own it. So in South Africa, it's very much like the States. You own the land. If you own it in your name, it's yours. The title is in your name. If you pass on, depending on whatever your will is, it's inherited down. The good thing about owning property in South Africa is, as a foreigner owning property in South Africa, you have the exact same rights as a South African over that property. There's no, besides the bank issue, where the bank only gives a foreigner 50% for finance, that's separate. But in terms of ownership, you have every right as a South African has a right over property.
So, me coming from New York and going to South Africa, wanting to purchase a piece of land, having the funds to purchase the land.
No problem. Yeah, no problem.
So I could actually own the piece of property outright.
Yeah, outright, in your name. And it can be passed on, it can be inherited by your successors should you pass. It's your property, until you sell it to somebody else or another person or whatever.
So then there's absolutely no citizenship required to purchase a piece of property there?
No.
Interesting.
Foreigners are allowed to own property, and they have all of the exact same rights and privileges as a South African.
So Dinas did ask you a question about the citizenship.
But we can talk about, if I don't know, Reece, about resident citizenship. But go ahead, ask your question.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask that. I wanted to. I know, Dinas, you said. So in Ghana, I had family there. They've been living there for 23 years. But they came from New Jersey. It's been living there for over 20 years, and are just being looked at, of course, to get their citizenship. How is do you know any Americans that actually just came out, didn't live there for more than 5 years, and actually got citizenship? Or what exactly has to be done for an American to get citizenship there?
Yeah, it's varying. Hey, I think we've got quite a lot of that information also on the OneAfrica Properties blog. I'll just try and post a link also in the chat. But there's varying, besides living for a period of time legally in South Africa, you can also get citizenship by as a professional. So, for example, if you were a doctor and you came here to work in one of the government hospitals, they'll give you concession for citizenship. And obviously the regular, if you married somebody in South Africa, you'd get the citizenship. And then also if you had a business that, I think the turnover is above 500,000 South African rand and longer than 2 years in operation. And there's some employment equity to that if you employ more than, I think, 12 or 15 South African people on a permanent basis, then as the owner of that business, you get citizenship.
Wow.
But don't hold me to this. I'm just speaking off the top of my head. I'll try and drop the link in the comments.
Do your own research.
Yeah.
Like we said,
brothers, I appreciate it. I appreciate the help, and that's a lot to think about. That sounds like South Africa will be my next journey.
Yeah, we look forward to hosting you. I always advise guys, make the trip down before you purchase in any of the African countries. Make sure you visit the country. Make sure you speak to some attorneys while you're visiting the country. It's like doing woodwork or metalwork. You want to measure twice and cut once. So do the research until you're blue in the face before you do the transaction.
Thank you, and Dinas, thank you as well for bringing the brother and yourself on. Thank you very much.
Thank you
for your time.
More than a pleasure.
All right, let's see here. Again, if you guys want to call in, link is in the chat room. Again, link is in the chat room. Click on that link, and you're more than welcome to call in and ask a question. Again, click on that link, and you're more than welcome to call in and ask a question. Let's see here. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and start closing out. Well, you already made the pitch, but guys, if you are interested in acquiring a property in South Africa, please visit OneAfricaProperties.com. Again, please visit OneAfricaProperties.com. With that being said, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Again, visit OneAfricaProperties.com. Until next time, family. Dynasty. Peace.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem.